All right, thanks, guys. We've gone 62% in our last 21 board member package plays on patreon.com/Brock Page. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that website. Link for that site is in the description section below. That's patreon.com/Brock Page. The Penn Quakers take on Villanova, 6:30 Eastern tip-off in that game. Villanova's the 12-point favorite, total at 150.5. We saw a half a point fade of Villanova and movement downward on the total. The Wildcats open as the 12.5-point favorite, down to minus 12. Total open 153, down to 150 and a hook. 67% of the consensus are leaning toward Villanova. 59% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Wildcats have been winners in 4 out of their last 5. They also covered 60% of the games in those 5 as well. They rank at the top 40 in scoring in the nation, top 25 in three-point percentage. Connor Gillespie's averaging 15 points a game, 5 assists. Jeremiah Robinson Earl, he's averaging 13 points a game and 10 rebounds. Penn on the other side, they're allowing 77 points per contest. Their opponents are also shooting 37% from downtown. Now, total-wise, Penn is 4-1 to the over in their last 5. Villanova 5-0 to the over in their last 5 themselves. Combined, that's 9-1 to the over in their last 10 combined. Give me Villanova minus 12 in the over, 150.5 in that game. Next matchup, South Carolina taking on UMass, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that game. The Gamecocks are the 1.5-point favorite, total at 140 and a hook. We saw a 1-point fade of South Carolina and movement upward on the total. The Gamecocks open as the 2.5-point favorite, down to minus 1.5. Total open 139, up to 140 and a hook. 58% are leaning South Carolina, 85% shaded toward the under. Right now, UMass is 4-2 against the spread in their last 6. They did have a successful cover of the spread against Virginia earlier in the year. They're led by TJ Weeks, who's scoring 16 points a game, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. Trey Mitchell is also scoring 12 points a game, 7 rebounds. And Samba Diallo, 6 rebounds a game, 7 points for him. UMass has successfully covered the number in their last 4 straight games as the home team. Once again, 4-0 against the number as the official home team. Now, South Carolina on the other side, they failed to cover the point spread in their last 5 straight. Their offense is shooting just 28% from downtown. They also failed to cover against the likes of George Washington, Northern Iowa, and Gardner-Webb. Total-wise, South Carolina 2-1 to the under in their last 3. UMass 5-3 to the under overall for the year. I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and lean UMass plus 2 and the under 140.5 in that matchup. Next game, Virginia taking on Purdue. And that's going to be a 7:15 Eastern tip-off in that matchup. Purdue's minus 1.5, total 103. No, you did not mishear me. The total is at 103. I have not seen a total that low in a very, very long time. I think this is actually the lowest total on a college game I've ever done on Brock Page Productions. But anyway, Purdue, we saw a 1-point fade of Purdue in the early wagering. We also saw a little bit of movement upward on the total. The Boilermakers opened as the 2.5-point favorite, down to minus 1.5. Total open 102, up to 103. 70% are leaning Virginia, 51% shaded toward the over. Braxton Key is out for the Cavaliers. That said, though, Virginia's still 7-0 straight up on the year, undefeated. Top 3 in points allowed, top 3 in defensive field goal percentage, and top 10 in defensive three-point percentage. Mamadi has 14 points a game, 7 rebounds, and Jay Huff is averaging 10 points a game, 7 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Purdue on the other side, just 3-4 against the number overall for the year. They failed to cover against the likes of Wisconsin Green Bay. Total-wise, both teams are 6-1 to the under thus far in the year. I'm going to lean Virginia plus 2 after buying the half a point and the under 103 in that game. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Wednesday's college basketball action. But before we dive into some more of that, I just want to quickly remind you once again about my website. It's patreon.com/BrockPage, where once again we are hitting at 62% in our last 21 board member package plays on that website. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that site as well. We do daily premium selections on that site beginning at just $1.99 per month. We have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. And at the end of this program here today, right here on YouTube, I'm actually going to explain to you the difference between what I do here on YouTube and that Patreon page. You can actually check out my current Patreon record for free right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some more free lines of personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got the Fighting Irish taking on the Terrapins. 7:30 Eastern tip-off at the University of Maryland. Sorry. Not sure. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Not sure where this game's being played. Not sure if it's a neutral site game. For some reason, I think it is. But anyway, Notre Dame taking on Maryland. 7:30 Eastern tip-off in that matchup. Maryland is the 9.5-point favorite. Total at 141 and a hook. We saw a 0.5 point fade of Maryland and movement upward on the total. The Terrapins open as the 10-point favorite down to -9.5. Total open 140 up to 141 and a hook. 65% are leaning Maryland, 66% shaded toward the over. Notre Dame has failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4. They're shooting just 41% from the field. Maryland, on the other side, they rank in the top 40 in scoring, top 25 in offensive rebounding. Their defense is allowing just 62 points per contest. Anthony Cowan, 17 points a game, 5 assists. Jalen Smith, 13 points a game, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks. Just for the record, Maryland is undefeated on the year, 8-0 straight up overall for the season. Maryland's also 60% to the under as the official home team. Notre Dame on the other side, 5-2 to the under overall for the year. If you guys can confirm the location of this game in the comment section, I'd greatly appreciate that. But with all that said and done, I'm going to lean University of Maryland -9.5 and the under 141.5 in that matchup. Next game I have for you, it is going to be Texas Tech taking on DePaul, and that's going to be an 8:30 Eastern tip-off in that contest. Texas Tech is -1.5, total 139 and a hook. We saw a 0.5 point move toward the Raiders and movement downward on the total. Texas Tech open as the 1-point favorite up to -1.5. Total open 141 down to 139.5. 54% are leaning DePaul, 56% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Blue Demons of DePaul, they're +105 on the money line. They're also undefeated on the year, 8-0 straight up on the season, 5-0 against the spread in their last 5. They defeated Minnesota, Boston College, and Iowa this year. Their offense is averaging 78.4 points per contest. They're also shooting 49.4% from the field. Charlie Moore is averaging 17 points a game, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals. Paul Reed's averaging 15 points a game, 10 rebounds, and 2 steals as well. We're looking at a DePaul squad who ranks in the top 35 in offensive rebounding, top 15 in defensive field goal percentage. Now, Texas Tech, on the other side, losers of their last 2 straight. They also failed to cover the point spread in 3 out of their last 4. I'm going to lean toward the underdog in this matchup here. Give me DePaul +2 after buying the 0.5 point and the under 139.5 in that game. Next matchup, Wisconsin taking on NC State. 9:15 Eastern tip-off in that game. NC State's -5, totals 131. We saw a 0.5 point move toward the Wolfpack and movement downward on the total. NC State open 4.5 up to -5. Total open 133 down to 131. 55% are leaning Wisconsin, 83% shaded toward the over. Right now the Badgers are +185 on the money line. Wisconsin's also won 4 out of their last 6. They beat Marquette 77-61 on the 17th of November. They rank in the top 35 in defensive rebounding. Nate Roivers, 15 points a game, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks. Brad Davison, 12 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. NC State on the other side failing to cover in 2 out of their last 3. They're also just 3-4 against the spread overall for the year. They failed to cover over the likes of Alcorn State, Florida International as well. Their defense is allowing 70.4 points per contest. Total-wise, Wisconsin 3-0 to the under when traveling. Give me Wisconsin +5 in the under 131 in that game. Next matchup, Wake Forest taking on Penn State. 9:15 Eastern tip-off in that game. The Nittany Lions are the 11.5-point favorite, total at 144 and a hook. We saw a 1.5-point move toward Penn State and movement upward on the total. The Nittany Lions open as the 10-point favorite, up to -11.5. Total open 143.5, up to 144 and a hook. 56% are leaning Penn State, 51% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Demon Deacons are +$6 on the money line. The Demon Deacons have also covered the point spread in their last 4 straight, 4-0 ATS in their last 4. They rank in the top 30 in offensive rebounding. Brandon Childress, 17 points a game, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. Olivier Sarr, 13 points a game, 10 rebounds for him. And Sade Brown, 13 points a game, 7 rebounds for Wake Forest. Penn State's failed to cover in 2 out of their last 3. They failed to cover against the likes of Ole Miss and Yale. And when it comes to the total, Penn State's 3-1 to the over in their last 4. I'm going to purchase the 0.5 point, buy it up, and lean toward Wake Forest +12 and the over 144.5 in that game. All right, next and final matchup for the show. This is the one we've been all waiting for. It is Ohio State taking on UNC, 9:30 Eastern tip-off in that game. The Tar Heels are the 4-point favorite, total at 136. Now, we did see a 0.5 point move toward North Carolina and movement downward on the total. The Tar Heels open as the 3.5-point favorite, up to -4. Total open 136.5, down to 136 even. 56% are leaning UNC, 71% shaded toward the over. And right now, the Buckeyes are +$1.60 on the money line. The Buckeyes are also undefeated on the season. They're perfect 7-0 straight up on the year. They actually beat Villanova handily earlier in the year. They beat them 76-51 on the 13th of November. They also beat Cincinnati 64-56 on November 6th. They're 6-1 against the spread overall for the year, 5-0 against the number in their last 5 straight. They rank in the top 25 in three-point percentage, top 30 in offensive rebounding. Caleb Wesson is averaging 13 points a game, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks. DJ Carton, 10 points a game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And Kyle Young, 7 rebounds and 9 points for him. This Ohio State squad is shooting 49% from the field. They rank in the top 10 in points allowed, top 3 in defensive field goal percentage as well. Their opponents are shooting just 32% from the field. Now, North Carolina, on the other side, they failed to cover in 5 out of their last 6. They're one of the worst covering teams in the ACC. They failed to cover against Alabama, Elon, Gardner-Webb, and UNC Wilmington. The Tar Heels have failed to cover in 2 out of their 3 games at home. Their offense is shooting, well, not terrible, but not great. It's very lackluster. They're shooting a mediocre 42% from the field. Brandon Robinson is questionable for tonight's action as well, so keep an eye on him. He's typically responsible for roughly 11 points a game and 3 rebounds. So once again, Brandon Robinson listed as questionable for tonight's action. Now, total-wise, UNC 6-1 to the under overall for the year. Ohio State on the other side, 5-2 to the under themselves. I'm going to lean toward the dog in this one. Give me Ohio State +4 and the under 136 in that game. All right, guys, let's go ahead and slide into our quick pick recap. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we're currently hitting at 62% in our last 21 board member package plays. I like Ohio State +4 under 136. Wake Forest +12 over 144.5. Wisconsin +5 under 131. DePaul +2 under 139 and a hook. Maryland -9.5 under 141 and a hook. Virginia +2 under 103. UMass +2 under 140.5. And last but certainly not least, I like Villanova -12 and the over 150.5 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are hitting at 65% for the entire college football season. Shout out to Bobby Williams, Kirk Moore, Tickin, Thurman Merman, Billy Boogaloo, Sandbox Mafia Yo-Yo. Shout out to Lucella, Gio Lopez, Juan Antonio, Square 707. Shout out to Mr. Rays, YC Mike Kep, Pal Chang, Robert German, and last but certainly not least, shout out to Lane Eternal Master. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage, where once again, we are currently 62% in our last 21 board member package plays. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season. We do daily plays on that site, beginning at just $1.99 per month. We also have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. You might be thinking, well, Brock, what's the difference between what you do here on YouTube and your Patreon page? And that's a great question. What we do here on YouTube is we handicap literally almost every single game on the board, both the side and the total. And I'll tell you this much, if you were to bet your hard-earned money on every single game, side and total in real life, you are guaranteed 100% going to lose in the long run. There's too many games, too many options. The books are too smart, they're too sharp. The math is always against you, and the books have too much money. So what we do on Patreon is we really focus in on 3 to 4 premium selections per day. It's a little bit smaller sample size, but they're high percentage selections, high percentage plays. They're games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, my current record on Patreon is a whole lot better than it is handicapping every single game side and total on YouTube. And as a matter of fact, you can actually check out my current Patreon record for free right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. It's right on the homepage. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. But most importantly, guys, I do have to thank you for watching me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Wednesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you on patreon.com/BrockPage.